Hello, great day to everyone on this platform. So excited to have you on this training today. Yes, we are starting the vaginal health training with this very first video that has three major topics we are going to be treating, which is the definition of the vagina, the vaginal bacteria, and the vaginal secretion or discharge. Yes, we decided to also do these audio videos because we have different types of people and different ways of understanding and learning things. We have some infographics that we have done, which is also very impactful, but we decided to also do this video so that you can have time to yourself to go through it, to also have time to listen to it at your own time. So let's go right in. What is vagina? We want you to understand what vagina means so that you can have a proper understanding of what we'll be doing here today. Vagina is simply the tube-like muscle that runs from the opening of the womb, called cervix, to the vagina opening. It's a tube-like form. It runs from the opening of the womb to the vagina opening. So it's just like a tube. And we have the external sex organ we see. That is the one you see outside. The one everybody is calling vagina. It's just the external sex organ. Vagina itself is in tube form. Is what is internal. The internal part of us is not visible. But the external sex organ we see is the vulva. So that is what surrounds the vagina opening. So vagina itself is internal. The vulva is the sex organ that everybody sees. And the labia is the snail-like look part of the vulva. So the flappy part of your vagina is called the labia. And that is what the snail-like look part. So we want everybody to have a proper understanding. So when you are talking of vagina is the internal part nobody sees. But the sex organ that surrounds the mouth of the vagina is called vulva. So, and the labia is that snail-like look. So just for a layman understanding, so that as we go ahead, you'll be able to follow us properly for proper understanding. So the bacteria, vaginal bacteria, what do we mean by bacteria, and how is bacteria useful, or how does bacteria work with our vagina? There are lots of bacteria inside the vagina, and they are there to protect you. So you have to understand this. Vagina in the bacteria is also there to protect you. So research made us to understand that the vagina contains more bacteria than anywhere else in the body. So after the bowel, but these bacteria are there for a reason. So you have to understand this. The good and the bad bacteria. So let us now understand which one is the good, which one is the bad. Because there are instances where a lot of people start having terrible odor and they are like, what is happening? Is it family issue? Is it where Yoruba will call it offer? Is it somebody that is doing me? Do they want men to be running away from me? Do they want me to have issues? They don't want me to have a husband. All these things are not what we think. Proper understanding of what is happening to your body will help you resolve the problem. So now we have the good and the bad bacteria. The good ones are meant to outnumber the bad. So the good ones helps keep the pH level of the vagina, which helps keep the bacteria healthy. So in your body system, the vagina houses majority of bacteria outside the bowel. I think the bowel is the first and the vagina is the second. That houses a lot of bacteria. But the bad and the good are important for that part of your body. But one should not outnumber the other. There should be a level. A level should be maintained in a situation where you want to have a healthy vaginal state. So the good bacteria helps produce natural antibiotics to kill or reduce other bacteria from entering the vagina. So the good one has the work it does. And we have said it earlier, the bad is needed, the good is needed, but they shouldn't outnumber each other. Especially the bad. The bad shouldn't outnumber the good. So we have been talking about the good and how it works. The good bacteria helps produce substance that stops invading bacteria sticking to the vaginal walls, which prevents bacteria invading the tissues. So why do you really need to be conscious of this? Because a lot of odor that is so terrible, that has stick with you for months, for years, and you meet a man today and tomorrow they run away because they are witnessing something they are not finding as interesting. Something is wrong. The bad bacteria have overshadowed the good bacteria, because we have, from the explanation you can see that the good bacteria are meant to invade external bacteria coming in. They are meant to produce natural antibiotics for your vagina so that your vagina can be healthy. We are talking about healthy vagina here. And what also happens when we age, there are certain abnormalities that take place in our body system as we age, and that is why we deem it very important to treat this topic so that everyone can have a proper understanding of how that part of the body runs. So many things are happening. Infection, regular infection, you have treated it over and over again, it's not going. It's because something is wrong, and that is why we are here to treat that. So what happens when infection takes place? What happens? I'm going to be treating the vaginal secretion and discharge. What really happens when infection takes place is that the bacterial balance is disturbed. That is what leads to infection or inflammation. Whenever there is a distortion of balance, when the balance, the good and the bad, doesn't have a balance, that is when infection takes place. So, and the infection will be there if not handled or treated. It will start leading to the good bacteria being killed. They are gradually being killed. Until the bad one totally takes over and bad odor starts coming out from that section, because the bad bacteria is already ruling, and before you know it, your whole total body is already having odor coming out from your vagina, and that is what is happening. So your vaginal bacteria, the good is needed, the bad is needed, but there should be a balance. So infection takes place when the bad has taken over control of your vagina. So we'll be talking and handling all these issues as we go, but I need you to have a proper understanding of what is happening with your body and how to handle it. So we are going straight now to the vaginal secretion or discharge. So your vagina is expected to produce clear and white secretion from your vagina. So vaginal discharge is normally not a bad sign. I want us to note that. Changes in the amount of discharge can be 100% hormonal, which can be linked to menstrual cycle, pregnancy, or menopause. So whenever there is a change in your discharge look, maybe it ought to be in a whitish substance, but when it now turns creamy, you know that maybe your period is getting close, or maybe you are already entering menopause and your body is trying to speak to you that look, you are already getting to a stage, and the hormones is also speaking to you. So most of the time, the change in the color of your discharge doesn't really mean you have infection, but all the things that will help you understand when infection is setting is what I have explained during this vaginal bacteria talk. That when odor, a very terrible odor, start coming out from that section, you know that something is wrong. But when there is a color change, maybe you've been bringing out white and you start having cream, because there are some women that shutted me up and was telling me that their discharge used to be very like a mucus form. So it doesn't really mean you have infection. If that is your own way of ovulating, you still just have to bring it out the way you bring it out. So if there's a change in the color of your discharge, it doesn't mean you have infection. It can be a change in hormones, that is causing that. And that can be as a result of your menstrual cycle or pregnancy or menopause. So these are the various stages and change in discharge, thickness, and color. So when ovary releases egg, known as ovulation, your discharge becomes thicker and stretchy like raw egg whites. So all those signs are usually during ovulation. You have a mucus-like type of discharge, you know you are ovulating. It's a very good sign. Your egg is being released then. For anyone looking for the fruit of the womb, that is the best time for you to start meeting your husband. It's the best time, especially when you have checked him too and he's in a very good state of health. Then it is a good time for you to meet him. You have a very strong, sign to know you are ovulating. Some women, it is when they start having this move, your body, you get romantic during your ovulation time. Such a woman is also a very clear sign, and it is good for you to make good use of it. Some people doesn't even know when they are ovulated, but majorly women usually have the sign, and you need to note it and make use of it, especially if you are looking for the fruit of the womb. So let's go ahead. Then other period in a cycle could be whitish color as explained above. So healthy discharge shouldn't have any smell or color. You may feel an uncomfortable wetness, but you shouldn't have any itching or soreness around your vagina. So the secretion or the discharge is what we have explained. Your discharge should be white in nature, but when there is a change in color, it doesn't mean you have infection. It might be as a result of change in hormonal system, and it might be as a result of your change. You have a cycle coming, you are pregnant, or you are entering menopause, and so you have to know that there isn't any problem for a change in color. But note, when there's a change in color and there is terrible odor coming out from the discharge, then it means something is wrong, and you have to note it. So that is that about what vagina means, the bacteria expected to be in the vagina, and the secretion you are expected to have. I believe we all have a proper understanding of this basic introduction, which is very important and is going to help us with other trainings we'll be having after this. So see you in the next training.